From Joy and Ralph Ellis Stadium, it's the ICTN Game of the Week. Week 5 of the 2017 high school football season. The crosstown rival game, the Nimitz Vikings and the Tigers of Irving. And good evening, everyone. John Nelson along with Rob Willman. 47th meeting all time between these two teams. District-wise, both teams looking for that first victory. Overall, Nimitz at 1-3. Irving likewise. As you see, the Irving Tigers, they are the home team tonight, and we're just about set to go. A quick pregame, and Rob Willman, it's all yours.
All right, thank you very much. And the Irving Tigers won the coin toss. They've elected to defer. They'll kick off now and get the ball back in the second half. Morales will tee things off. Look at there, we have a kick that's straight away, and Nimitz will fake it and decide, nah, we better just down it, as Cameron Henderson, the deep back, had that about 2 or 3 yards deep in the end zone and decided, nah, cooler heads will prevail. So for the Nimitz Vikings, who we saw just a week ago in the home uniforms or the visiting white uniforms, John, give us the rundown.
All right, here's the offensive line anchored by Connor Hoffman. Escobar and Herrera the guards. Conklin and Armijo are the tackles. Aiden Ponce makes things happen down under center. Hamilton, McGowan, Winters, Lawson, and Garcia, the running backs and wide receivers.
New face in the backfield, and he has the football. Check that. The quarterback, Ponce, keeps it for maybe a yard. Ponce comes in with 9 carries and 33 yards overall and a touchdown running the football. But they have a new, and first of all, we have an injury on the field. One of the Irving Tigers right from the get-go, perhaps Jordan Frost. Can't see if that's 28 or not. One of the defensive ends.
It is 28.
He is hurt on the very first play.
He's at left defensive end. Here's another look at it. We'll see if he can roll it well. Here's Ibarra, Tinglin, Hopkins, and Frost, the front four. The middle, Hawkins, Stevenson, and Tamayo. And the secondary, Jumper, Avery, Cabello, and Kirkland.
Well, it looks from this angle, he may just have a Charlie horse. Let's see if he gets up and comes over to the sideline. Delatorre with a slow walk to check on his defensive end. Well, no, he might have twisted that ankle. He's favoring that as he walks off the field. And they'll reset the play clock as we only had about, 16 seconds roll off.
Not much at all. Here's another look at it on this fake handoff and then turn it upfield, and there's the
the right ankle.
Problem right there on the right side.
Twisted up. Nelms with the handoff, and not much there. Christian Nelms has missed a couple of weeks, and Coach Rogers was very excited in the pregame chat about having his running back there to help complement Derek Hamilton, the senior. Now, Christian is a junior wearing number 6, came in averaging about 8 yards every time he touched the football. The only thing is he didn't touch it a lot. Here's a loose football, and Ponce is going to fall on it, but not until he gets back to about the 10-yard line. A mistake by the Nimitz Vikings.
Able to reel it back in. This was not good from the outset. Reaches out, now in a retreat mode, just hoping to cover it up, and reaches out and secures it at the 9-yard line, but he had number 27 all over his back, Quintanilla.
Connor Hoffman is the center, and that just missed his mark. And the mistake almost really costly for the Vikings, but they were able to recover. Now they have to punt. And Jose Aguilar, who does all the kicking, whether it's punting or place kicking, stands a couple of yards deep and shanks it. Shanks it to the right, inside the 20. The Irving Tigers, it might as well have been a fumble recovery because they're going to get the football at about the 12-yard line. Oh, my.
Marking off the angle, it's not much further than the 12, and not a good start for the Nimitz Vikings following that fumble. Now you're in a retreat mode, and you shank one off the right side, and what a break for the Irving Tigers. I mean, you're almost handing them 6 points here. And it is the 12-yard line.
He is one of the more solid players for Coach Rogers, but he tried just a little too hard there. So here come the Tigers with excellent field position. Their first possession of the ball game. The Tigers in the black and the gold helmets. The Vikings all white with the purple N on the helmet and the gray helmet. In the backfield is Trayvon Jackson, number 22. It's either Jackson or Miles. They alternate. And Stevenson gives it to Jackson, and Jackson hits the right side of the line and picks up about 5 yards.
Nice hole opened up by Justin Basham, number 66. Irving comes in averaging 16 points a game.
That was the best run for Jackson. He's carried it about 18 times and has about 17 yards. So he's only been getting a yard a carry, but made that one count. And they've got the workhorse in there now, James Miles, number 3. Watch for Miles. Also, Trey Austin is in there as a blocking back. Stevenson gives Miles. Miles carries him down inside the 1 to about the half-yard line. That'll be a first down. It will be first down and goal.
Thomas Henderson saves the touchdown. The linebacker, number 21. You'll see Henderson come over the right side, just hold on top of the shoulder pads and throw down Miles.
Miles is not shy in lowering the shoulder. And we've got the big package in there, the big uns, as Jordan Tinglin has checked in, one of the 2 defensive players. So they're pretty tight, pretty much a goal line offense. Miles right up the middle, and did he cross? No, not yet.
Everything but a touchdown.
Maybe just the length of the football shy of the goal line.
Miles last year, 12 touchdowns, and Rob, he's one of the faster players on this squad, runs a 4.5 40.
Already with 3 touchdowns on the season. There was a penalty flag, an illegal procedure, and that should move Irving back 5 yards.
All right, let's check out the Irving Tigers offense. As we said, averaging 16 points a game. Basham, Elrod, Barrios, Navarez, and Cueva, the interior line. DJ Stevenson with a 45% completion rate as the quarterback. Miles, the running back. Quintanilla, the tight end. Neal, Millen, and Lawton are the wideouts.
So Stevenson again with Miles right behind him. A little quick toss, and Miles is hit at the line, but spins and practically gets the 5 yards right back. So they've tried him up the middle, they've gone wide, and they've had success pretty much on both sides, but a little scrappy play by the Vikings, who are not quite as big in the front 3 as a lot of teams in this district.
Yeah, underneath Justin Sherman, the safety came up to upset Miles.
And a push in the back over the goal line and a touchdown for the Irving Tigers. Stevenson, your quarterback, scores the first touchdown of the ball game, and the Tigers strike first.
Nothing fancy, but you would expect nothing less than a touchdown, Rob, on that punt. A 12-yard drive, and just plowing straight ahead, DJ Stevenson. I believe that's his 2nd rushing touchdown of the year.
Yep, he's thrown for 4. They have the muddle huddle, or swinging gate as I like to call it, as Irving's going to try to go for 2. Somehow he escapes, run over a couple of players, but comes up short. Number 13, Kevin Kirkland. Man, he had great effort just to make it close for the 2-point conversion.
All right, let's take another look. Nothing fancy, just straight ahead, running behind number 75, Giovanni Barrios. And an easy score for the Irving Tigers. There's a ground level look.
Well, both Kirkland and Jordan Tinglin both kind of gave him a push from behind. It's like the old power I or the power formation in reverse nowadays. Now that they say it's okay to push somebody from behind, you might as well put the lead blockers behind you. And that way they can just give you a good catapult and a good push over the line of scrimmage.
2005, South Bend, the Bush push.
Yeah.
As USC defeats Notre Dame on the Bush push.
So the Vikings find themselves down 6-0 at the 8:24 mark of the first quarter. A couple of things in that first series for the Vikings, and bad snap. Quarterback has to go back, loses about 10 yards. Then after the bad snap, you have the bad punt. So a couple of plays in a row for the Vikings that pretty much put them in a hole field position-wise from the onset.
Well, Coach Brian Rogers, Rob, telling us earlier tonight, we have to win first down. We've got to get that first down drive going and make a game of it tonight.
Just like against the Gophers, they had a lead, and then all of a sudden the Gophers took like 4 plays and came right back to score. So let's see if they kick it straight away again, and they do, and this one goes out of the end zone And the Vikings will set up shop for the second time tonight. They did not throw once in their first series, although we don't know if that one play where the snap missed its mark was a called pass. Since it did go in the end zone, the ball will start at the 25. Maybe that's a reason, John, that we see so many directional kicks. If you kick it in the end zone, they start at the 25. I don't know, but first time in a long time we've seen a team where they let their kicker do the job.
Yep.
So Ponce will come back out there again. A couple of players in motion. That was Garcia going one direction. And Ponce waits, has some running room, has a lot of real estate over the 30 and finally upended and knocked out of bounds on the far sideline. So the Vikings get their first down of the evening.
You know, we saw a lot of that last year from Ponce. He threw for over 1,500 yards, but he gets to the edge very quick. And it's like Dak Prescott. He's hard to bring down. That's a big target.
Nathan Hawkins, number 8, eventually with the tackle. They go up the middle. Looks like that's Hamilton, I believe, number 2. Hamilton, the senior, averaging about 5.3 yards a carry, has 228 yards overall in the season. Brings up second down. Under 8 minutes to go. They gave him just a couple. 3 sets of receivers to the near side, and they just will toss it to the far side, back to Hamilton. And Hamilton is pushed out of bounds close to the sticks. It'll be a first down or third and less than a yard.
Nice little safety valve pass. Number 16 having to come up Hernandez, a linebacker, and slow things up. And from here, it's a little short.
Hernandez second on the depth chart at linebacker, but remember they had an injury early on to Frost. Let's see if he returns to the lineup. Third down and short. Ponce keeps. Here comes Tinglin and everybody else in pursuit, and somehow Ponce gets away and is eventually pushed out of bounds. And really a nice job that time by number 6 coming up strong, which is Anthony Union. You see him right there that came up and pushed him out of bounds.
Yeah, Union had help. He needed help as the pile moves to the left. Here come 2, 3, and 4 Irving Tigers defensively as they just surround Ponce. And a nice stop.
Well, Coach Rogers might have thought about it, but in the end, a wise decision to go ahead and bring your kicker out there. And let's see if they got somebody different. Nope, still the same one. Jose Aguilar, number 81. And a whistle.
Too much time. Play clock was down to 2, and you would hope for a little better effort this time from Jose Aguilar, but that scoots him back to the 39.
Well, he's still in better shape than he was the last time he attempted a kick when he was inside his own end zone.
Think about that hash mark. When you shank it, you don't have that far side of the field to work with. I mean, it's all bad.
You shanked it the wrong way. Right. You're going to shank it. A high kick, not too deep. And again, not a very deep kick for Aguilar. You know, that's the thing about kickers, John. You know, you get in a funk, and next thing you know, it takes you a game or two to work yourself out of it. You know, if you're a Viking fan, you hope that that doesn't translate in case you need him for a
you're on an island all by yourself.
Yeah.
The Nimitz Vikings defense will be giving up 33 points a game. Darrell McGuire and all the front 3. The inside quartet of linebackers, Oliver, Sands, Hernandez, and Vegan. And the secondary, the 2 Evanses, Gonzalez, and Sherman, the safety, number 1.
Stevenson keeps up the middle, left side, across the 40, down to the 42. Last man off the stack, Tomas Henderson, number 21, a junior, 1 of 3 making a play there. Players getting some coaching there on the sideline for Irving High. They are the home team tonight. That sets up a second down and 3. And so many more options for the offensive coordinator when it's second down and 3 compared to second down and much longer. Jackson is also in there along with Miles, and they give to Jackson, and Jackson squeaks through the line and sticks the football across the 45, and that should be good enough for another Irving High School first down.
Yeah, it's a pretty good offensive line that Coach De La Torre has this year. They're quick off the ball. They move side to side very well, and it was very complimentary of his O-line visiting with him earlier tonight. Nimitz, they got to stop the run, though. They gave up almost 300 yards last week in the loss to Grand Prairie.
So a fresh set of downs for the Tigers. Nothing fancy, just 2 to the left, 1 to the top of the screen. That is Brooks. And they give to Miles, and Miles was just a whisker and a turn away from breaking that one. He still picks up 3 on the play.
Yeah, another spin move, and he's gone right there. Getting down low is Collins. And now they brought in Dalvin Jumper, number 29.
Collins is a backup to one of the Evans boys. They have him out there tonight. Helms was the only injured Viking to return tonight. Otherwise, about 4 or 5 other Vikings still nursing some wounds. Well, the player should be down. The question is, did he make the catch or not? If he did, it's good for about 1.5 yards.
And that was the man who just came on, Dalvin Jumper. He touched at midfield, a little low ball. Well, is it a catch at all?
I think they gave it to him, but it looked like the ball was on the turf. So 3rd down and 6. Clock continues to run here in the first quarter as the Tigers capitalized on a bad punt on the Vikings' very first possession. Stevenson with Miles to his left. The lefty threw that one, and his receiver wasn't even looking. Solomon Neal, who leads his team in receptions, and trying to make the play was Mac Evans, number 4, the corner, who had him out there on coverage. Watch this.
Yeah, Evans just pokes out his left hand, dislodges it. Well, kind of both of them had a little piece of it.
Well, Solomon just really, he wasn't looking for it. So that's one of those things where the quarterback and the wide receiver were not on the same page.
And the Tigers going to take a timeout. Coach De La Torre in conversation with one of the players on the sidelines, Tamayo, the linebacker, but it was the offense that had the ball. But Irving will elect to take their first of 3 timeouts here in the first half.
I don't think they had enough players out. He was one shy.
DeSoto, who won earlier this week over MacArthur, now 2-0 in the district, a perfect 5-0. Duncanville, South, and Grand Prairie in a 3-way tie for second. Cedar Hill, Nimitz, Irving, and MacArthur making up the rest of the pack in District 7, 6A.
Well, that'll change there tonight with the Warriors and Gophers playing each other in week number 2. Talk about a crazy schedule where those crosstown rivals play week 2 in district and not the very last game of the season. Cedar Hill, they have Duncanville and DeSoto back-to-back. They're like, man, who made this schedule?
Just hoping to go 1-1.
Look at all the movement by the Tigers. Could be for something later. They have a left-footed kicker, so they kind of overloaded one side. And, oh, he gets a nice hop, really nice hop. Sherman picks it up at the 1. Gets back to the 10, perhaps. What a great kick that time by Luis Morales, as Sherman thought that was going to go into the end zone, and it took one of those fake grass hops and kept it in play.
One of the better punters in the district, 50 yards on the punt. Outstanding soccer players as well.
Well, let's see if the Vikings can open it up a little bit offensively. Can they complete a pass? Can they put the defense on the heels a little bit? They got to make something happen. Nelms goes out, and they have Hamilton in the backfield, and Hamilton just churns right up the middle, and some positive yardage that time for Nimitz.
Marvin Hernandez underneath Sebastian Ibarra, number 41. Also went on the stop at a pickup of about 5 yards, close to 5.
It looks like Frost is back out there, number 28, left defensive end. Motion player left is Hamilton. Ponce to his left, in trouble. And they'll lose that positive yardage they just picked up, lost 5 on the play.
Hey, cut it back, but then Connor Huffman may have turned the wrong way, and the defender got around him. And I stopped defensively.
There's Frost right there. Hopkins, number 53. Look at him right there barreling down on Ponce and forced him inside and forced him basically where the pursuit from his teammates were taking place, and credit a loss of 4 there. So it's 3rd down and 9. Ponce goes one way, a little flip out. Oh, incomplete. Tried to work it out into the flats to Hamilton, and Hamilton had some space, but just dropped it. Now the Vikings will have to punt again.
Oh, that play was huge. 3rd and 10. You have the guy wide open, and Hamilton just couldn't reel it in.
Well, we saw DeSoto use that play so effectively against MacArthur. Put someone out in open space and let them do what they do best. Another punt, the 3rd punt for Nimitz in the first quarter. This one far better for Aguilar than the prior 2, and it goes across midfield to the 49.
That hit at the 39, got about 16 extra yards and a 41-yard punt overall.
But once again, boy, it gives the Irving Tigers great field position, doesn't it?
Well, it is a short field, starting at your own 49. Head coach Brian Rogers across the way. The Nimitz Vikings coming off of a loss last week to Grand Prairie, 29-17. Opened the year at Keller Timber Creek. Came up a little short, 36-21.
So DJ with Miles and fakes to Miles and goes to the opposite side, to the far sideline on the wide receiver screen. Picks up maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 yards. Hit the one of the slot receivers, Rodney Lawton, number 11.
That's his 10th catch of the year. It came in averaging about 13 yards a catch.
With a couple of touchdowns to his credit. 2nd down, about 7. Lawton goes in motion, and they just run a little hook on the far sideline. Brooks has that, close to a 1st down. And man, John, what a difference a year makes for the Tigers. The offense just looks so much better moving the football than they did last year.
I like that play, the fake to the inside sweep and then the quick out. Wide open as Brooks. Yeah, you're right. That was our problem last year. Time and time again, we saw it. That has been corrected, I believe, in 2017.
That was Brooks's 3rd catch of the season. When you have, and the other thing is not a lot of pressure on Stevenson. He doesn't stay back too often, but let's see if Nimitz relates and goes back to having to blitz. Meanwhile, Stevenson, maybe 4 before the safety came up to hit him. Collins with a lot of game tonight. Also Diego Gonzalez, number 10, on the play. 2nd down, call it a long 5.
And then Lawton back in at a wideout.
And the Tigers will have to snap this as we're winding down in the first quarter of play. And you'd have to say it's been all Tigers so far in this one. They run that power setup, and they just go ahead and go right out into the flat. Straight up the middle, and good enough for another 1st down is Lawton. So a couple of times in a row now, they've hit Lawton, and they've showcased his speed and ability, what he can do after the catch.
Missed tackle out on the right flat as he overruns Lawton, and Lawton turns it up for about 9 extra yards.
Tigers will let this one wind down, and we have finished 1 quarter of football with the intercity rivalry at Joy and Ralph Ellis Stadium. Irving Tigers on top 6-0 after 1. pretty much all Irving High School in the first quarter of this one. They've got 6 points to show for it, but they're in pretty good shape here. First down and 10 after 26, trying to break a 3-game losing streak to these Nimitz Vikings. And all piled up right there in the middle is Jackson, Trayvon Jackson. They kind of just said, here, take it. And Trayvon took off and didn't have much to do after this.
Lifted up and planted.
Do that at the goal line. So maybe one when it's all said and done. Jackson stays in the lineup. Passing down. Stevenson to the left side to Union. And good pursuit by the Vikings. Well done on the far sideline.
They have showed that play twice without the handoff to Union. This time he takes it. And Nimitz waiting on that far corner.
Union had a few carries coming in. Rushed 29 yards. Had about 4 yards average a carry. Sparingly, but they've used him a couple of times already here in the first half. So it's 3rd and long. Now we've seen their field goal kicker. Morales has a good leg, so if you're Irving, you just don't want to lose too much yardage. And I think Delatorre says, you know what, I want to make doubly sure that we don't do anything silly and get out of field goal range. And he calls a timeout. So the second TO of the first half at the 10:25 mark of the second quarter. Yes, the Vikings have won the last 3 games between these two teams. A thriller last year, 34-24. Nimitz pitched a shutout in 2015 and then won 21-12 in 2014. Before that, the same thing had happened. The Irving Tigers have put together about 4 in a row, including a couple of overtime wins.
Did a little numbers crunching last night, and since 2010, the average score in this game has been Nimitz 29, Irving 18, so a difference of 11. And who could not forget last year's ending? It was bizarre, rather quickly.
And emotional.
Yeah, it was.
Vikings moving some players around on the D-line. Mario Gonzalez now in, playing one of the defensive tackles for Nimitz High. Stevenson, little pressure. Going to the opposite side of his throwing arm. He looked at it a couple of times and then throws one up for grabs in the end zone. Incomplete. I was looking for a flag. Jalen Oliver, number 9. Boy, he got tattooed pretty good as he was in chase of Stevenson. It's one of those moments when you look around and say, hey, who hit me?
It was Oliver that applied the pressure from the outside, coming around the right side, and ran about 40 yards to finally get to him.
Oliver had a great game last week against the Gophers. He, time and time again, applied the pressure on the quarterback. So it's 4th and 8, and even though I think Morales could make this kick, it appears Delatorre is going to go for it.
Well, they brought on their backup quarterback.
So there's Stevenson.
Damian Millen, number 17.
And we've got illegal procedure called. From our referee tonight, Mr. Maxon. At kickoff, and I'm looking at the flags now, they don't seem to be blowing quite as hard, but John and I walked the field before the game, and pretty good breeze blowing from right to left. As you see tonight's officials.
That makes it 4th and close to 13 now.
Irving splitting 2 to the right, 2 to the left. And now I think Delatorre is going to use his last time out. Well, you can't take it with you. So I think he's just going to look at this as an opportunity. And yeah, Millen, maybe he was not lined up where he was supposed to, because he had that look, body language to the coaches like, I thought I was in the right spot.
What about the facial look of Coach Delatorre this year?
Yeah, has some chin hair, if you will. Might be able to see it on that shot there. Said he always had kind of a beard or things going on and got away from it, so he thought he would work on it. Delatorre in his 6th year.
Said he had it one time when he was at Denton Ryan, shaved it off and brought it back.
You're a head coach, first time, first job. You want to make a good impression. Be the clean-cut guy. So now it's 4th and 13. Vikings pull back the linebackers and also the safety, so they're going to try to keep the play in front of them. Could be a hold there. Stevenson with plenty of time and just throws it away. Boy, that play never developed. No one could get separation from the defenders, and the Vikings do what they wanted to do, and that's keep Irving out of the end zone. Boy, I think a win for the Vikings.
Yeah, he got a penalty, a timeout, and nothing really positive happened for the Tigers as they turn it over at the Nimitz 30. Nimitz averaging 24 points a game. Now, Irving, they do give up their fair share of points, allowing 36.
Well, they didn't tell us a number, but you can see Delatorre talking to Stevenson, and
there's a 15-yarder.
Yep, unsportsmanlike. He probably said the wrong word, and thus they will be penalized, and Delatorre is going to come over and talk to the officials on the near sideline. They're going to just explain to him why the penalty was called.
Irving opened the year right nicely, defeating Fort Worth Pasco 40-14, coming off a loss to Duncanville at Duncanville 49-7. Telling us that we were the only school last year to play 2 state champions, Bishop Lynch and DeSoto. The Eagles and the Cards later on ICTN.
Got McGowan split to the near side. He's got one-on-one coverage with Jumper. Meanwhile, Ponce does a little flip right in the middle. Not a lot of room. Looked like they went to number 7 that time, which is Cameron Henderson. Like the idea as you're trying to make something happen offensively, but didn't work. Tigers all over that. 2nd down and 9. I don't think the Vikings have had a play over 5 yards yet. Ponce, he's going to try to go to McGowan this time. Right, across the middle, and that's going to be a targeting and a penalty against the Irving Tigers.
Over the top, it's as if you hung him out to dry, but McGowan, the middleman, and takes the brunt of it.
Well, he popped right back up.
That's good.
The question now is was it targeting? The guy could be tossed from the game. Boy, McGowan popped right up, though. It's one of those, it was like the MacArthur game where we could see the interception about to happen that went for 6 last night. You could see the safety coming across.
This is one of these plays, Rob. You have 6 different opinions. One says, yeah, it could have been worse than it was. No, I'll let it go. It's uncatchable. Third one may say, well, he hit him enough to warrant the flag.
The last one
this
says,
is a tough call.
The last one says, I didn't see a thing, but I want to give you my 2 cents anyway.
Yeah, it's a tough one here.
Go down to the field and see what the call is. Straight up personal foul.
Well, here it is over the middle as McGowan really tattooed by Union at 15 yards as they go back to the line of scrimmage and mark off the personal foul. But this is the drive, Rob. Nimitz, they got to find their offense right here. This is a key drive, trailing 6-0.
And you know, they've been helped by 2 15-yard penalties. One at the end of the series for Irving, and now one right there on the personal foul. Ponce up the middle, maybe 2. He's a power runner. He's really not known for his finesse. So when you see him up there moving right and left and trying to evade a tackler, that's really not his type of game.
It's not, but, you know, and not to make the ultimate comparison to Dak Prescott, but it's like tackling a linebacker. He is so from the waist up.
True.
And hard to bring down.
2nd and 8. I don't think the Vikings have completed a pass, have they?
No.
Ponce, maybe they have now. Over to the far sideline. Catch made by Cesar Garcia, number 12. Came in with 5 catches. That is his 6th. And it makes his 3rd down a little bit more manageable than if they had not. Tigers, here they come. They're blitzing. And we've got a whistle, and this play will not count.
Kevin Kirkland came across a little early. He was in a full-out sprint. It'll cost him 5.
And again, the Vikings, well, they're going to call legal procedure, not the offsides. I was about to say that the Vikings are going to benefit again from a penalty. Now instead of 3rd and 4, they're going to have about 3rd and 9. A little over 8 minutes to go before halftime. Both bands and drill team. That'll be fun. Ponce going to swing one out, and Irving had that one covered up pretty well.
Had to get rid of it. Hamilton out on the right flat, but had no chance. And we got another player down for the Irving Tigers.
That's Tinglin, I bet. Yes, that's not good. Jordan Tinglin, the senior, who De La Torre says has been playing lights out and has come into his own his senior season at Irving High School. He really singled him out before the ball game.
Had 62 tackles last year and is up and going. But Ponce really having to get rid of it. Takes a shot in the back and all kinds of movement on that last play as Jordan Tinglin limps to the bench.
He was lined up against the right guard, Herrera, and Herrera went low for the block, and then he got tangled up after that, grabbing his knee a little bit. So it's 4th down and 9, and Coach Rogers says, hey, let's go for it. Irving fakes the blitz. Now they pull the linebackers back. Boy, just a lot of movement by Irving High this year, or in this game. I think Rogers may call time. He's got a couple to play with, and the game clock is at 17, and he might just let the clock roll. Well, I don't know why, because the game clock's not moving.
Take it all the way down to 1.
Or is he just going to take the flag?
A little more room to punt.
Guess so.
And here comes the punt team for the Vikings.
So a self-inflicted delay of game. And Aguilar, well, this is about his 5th time to punt. As both teams try to find the magic number offensively. Irving with 9 men on the line, and they're bringing them all. And it's blocked. Irving gets the ball inside the Viking into the field. The problem there was Aguilar hesitated. As you see, Tinglin right there, number 7. He's right back in there. Watch him hesitate, John.
Yeah, and Carlos Avery came up the middle, and then Quintanilla ends up with it. And just a reach out by Carlos Avery, number 30, the senior cornerback. Oh, they just can't get anything going at all here. Drive started at the 44, it ends at the 49.
Well, a complete opposite of what we saw in the MacArthur-DeSoto game, where Mac's special teams played so well. It has been a rough night for the Vikings. So what can the Tigers do? Again, great field position to start the series. And they hand off to Miles. Miles looking for some running room. Picks up about 4. Oliver, one of the guys in on the tackle, along with Justin Sherman, the senior, number 1, who plays free safety. Miles, whose dad, very documented player back in the Friday Night Lights era, coming to Irving. We saw him play his first game on ICTN in front of our cameras. Had a pretty good game, reeled off a couple of nice long runs. You look around, the guy's a senior already. What happened? Stevenson out in the flat and dropped, tried to hit Lawton. Lawton might have heard footsteps. He's kind of in that Cole Beasley mode.
Well, he can't play that any better defensively. And here's why. As soon as it's about to be caught, bang.
Well done by Collins, yeah.
Collins, one of 23 juniors. Nimitz has 24 seniors, so a pretty good mix there between the junior and senior class.
Got Collins out there playing safety tonight. DJ has a lot of room to the 20 and out of bounds. The entire football field was on the far sideline. He looked up and he had no receiver, no one to throw to. Didn't have to, John. He had a lot of real estate.
Great run, 26 yards. And look how, I know Stevenson's a lot faster than he was last year. Picked up a step or two this season, no question.
And a big play for the Tigers. Inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. DJ running the option. Miles, stiff arm, maybe a couple of yards. Oliver, who else? Right there in the middle of things. Pushing James out of bounds. Miles, 235 yards coming into tonight's game. As you take a look at Coach Rogers in his 5th season, taking over for Steve Hohenberger. Two receivers on each side. He's going to try to throw. Going for the end zone. Incomplete. Brooks was there. Spun around, couldn't make the play.
Wasting no time as Brooks turns, but he kept moving, and that ball just out of there about a foot and a half. Needed that extra room to bring it in. He would have been in bounds.
Yeah, Evans in on coverage. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a throw. I mean, it's one of those plays, they were so close.
Bring some extra blocking here.
Stops the clock. Irving does not have any timeouts left. Illegal substitution. Saw a player running on late.
Yeah, that was Mejia, number 55.
If you break the huddle and bring somebody out there, then it's illegal substitution. Split far to the left side is Neal. In fact, 3 receivers split to that side. Brooks is to the near side. Brooks might have jumped. Tried to go to Brooks across the middle, and not a very good throw. Might have been a late hit by Vaughn, who got in on DJ right at the end of the play.
Yeah, he got wiped out. No flag.
So it's 4th down, and once again, Coach Delatorre with the decision whether to go for it or kick it. I think he should try to kick it.
Well, it would be, well, yeah, why not?
40 yarders?
Yeah, 6:55 to play with.
Well, he didn't ask us, did he?
Well, within his range.
All right, what's he going to do? He's got Neal going down the sideline, trying to throw across the middle and incomplete. Tried to hit Lawton. Couldn't haul it in, and that'll do it. And they'll trade over on downs again, John.
Well, Lawton, I may have had a chance to bring this one in. It kind of a floater, but just a little bit too tall. Or Lawton jumped early. Nice coverage by Justin Sherman, the safety number 1. It is a game of inches, isn't it?
It is. And as all competitive wide receivers, Brooks coming off the sideline to tell Delatorre, hey, I was open. Throw it to me next time.
DJ Stevenson now 4 of 11 for 23 yards.
What can the Vikings do offensively? Ponce fakes, goes right. Cuts in, maybe 5. Maybe 5 yards on the play. Positive yards.
Again, Irving out of timeouts. Used them all here. They're going to bring on number 41 in the middle. Or out the outside, Ibarra, Sebastian, number 41.
That plays that defensive end, right side. Irving, 3 cornerbacks lined up to the near side on one-on-one coverage. So Ponce goes right side, and it's picked off. Intercepted by number 30, Carlos Avery. And Avery has the Tigers in great shape again offensively in grid field position.
Avery with a pickoff, trying to get it to Garrett Winters, number 11. Winters does have a touchdown catch this year, but that hung up a long time. A lot of air underneath it, and just picked off as Avery runs back towards the middle, hoping to get a block. And a nice pull down by Garcia, number 12.
Well, once again, the Viking defense is going to be called upon to try to stop the Tigers offensively. I mean, gosh, is this like 5 possessions in a row? It seems like that the Tigers have had the ball and the Vikings into the field.
3rd time in 4 possessions.
DJ. Rush is on. Rush still on as Vaughn is in pursuit. Throws it across the line and connects on the far sideline and will be good enough for a first down.
They run about 35 and able to get it
to Miles.
And Miles came back from the others. You know, that's a great job by the interior line. They didn't move more than 5 or 6 yards.
Well, a lot going on. Look at that block right there to the right part of your screen. Sands, he didn't see that coming.
Well, that's what I mean. The O-line held the ground.
That was probably the most exciting offensive play I think we've had tonight.
3 or 4 up here in the booth say yes.
Yes. Let's scramble some more. 1st and 10. Left side Jackson. Fumble, yes or no? Was he down? They say no. He wasn't down. He fumbled. Viking football. Who's the last one off the pile? Sands. Just the play before got really lit up by a Tiger blocker. Shakes it off, and on the next play recovers the fumble.
Well, they can't stand prosperity. A nice cut back, and then right here it becomes dislodged. Number 3 reaching back, Nyron Collins. Irving's last 3 possessions. It's gone over on downs twice. Now the fumble. But Nimitz hasn't been able to do anything either once they get the ball.
Nyron's had a good game in the secondary tonight. Been all over the place and was able to jar the ball loose from Miles. So back come the Vikings in all white, right up the middle. Right side, a lot of room for Hamilton. Hamilton, 10 plus, make it about, 18 on the pickup. And by far the best run of the night for the Vikings.
And they do win first down on this nice run by Hamilton as he sheds a couple of blockers. And Avery with a nice tackle.
Was a nice tackle. Got him around the legs. The way you draw it up. Punts, left side again. Hamilton. About another 15 or so yards.
Just scorched through the left side like Mark Eugene used to.
Who's down at Navarro, redshirting. Give him a year to grow. Hamilton just off the left side. No one touched him till he gets to the secondary.
Just runs over people in the secondary also.
2 straight big plays by Nimitz. Best back-to-back we've seen him here in a couple of weeks. One more time perhaps. Hamilton again. Goes against the grain, maybe 8.5 yards. It's almost like Ponce is running the read option. He just gives to Hamilton every time. And it's working.
Going to bring on an inside receiver, Willie Lawson. They got all kinds of movement here.
Lawson goes slot right. Hamilton, left side. Hamilton's got room. Hamilton, 10-5, touchdown. And hello, end zone.
Nice drive of 71 yards as he just went over Kevin Kirkland, number 13, the safety. It looked like he may have been offsides. And there's a swinging gate.
An extra point will give Nimitz lead, so I can't see them trying to go for 2 in this situation. But what happened in that series to create so many holes for Hamilton up the middle? Aguilar will try to give his team the lead, and he does. Splitting the uprights, and just like that, the Vikings are on top.
Hamilton 6 carries, but none better than this. He has a total of 76 yards.
Well, it was that first point of contact here where he breaks the tackle of Kirkland.
Boy, he did. He just shook him loose. And Kirkland, what a year he had last year, over 120 tackles. A 4-year starter in the secondary. But Hamilton with a full head of steam and new life for the Vikings.
Well, I can tell you, even if perhaps Irving scores before the half, they have still, yes sir, Mr. Hamilton,
yeah.
They still will have to look back and think about the great field position that they have had in the first half. And how many times they've been inside the 30 in the first half and not able to do anything with it.
Vikings won this game last year. They've taken the last 3 in the series. Won last year 34-24, 21-0, a shutout 2 years ago. I think that's the year that Mark Eugene had over 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns.
And looky here, the Vikings do the same thing. We need to send game tape to all the other coaches. Look, you can go straight away.
Trading touchbacks. That's the littlest Tiger. I don't see the Tiger in the cage. He's upright this year.
Well, that's on the Nimitz side, see?
That's Irving's sacrificial Tiger.
That's on the Viking side.
Some bloodletting across the way.
It literally is the toy Tiger, not the drill team. All right, let's see what the Tigers can do with it. Plenty of time, although they have no timeouts, but doesn't matter. 4:07 to go. Waiting for a football.
They didn't like that one at all. The laces are too loose.
And it's probably the Nimitz football they use just for kickoffs. You know, the one with helium in it? No.
K-ball?
Yeah. Stevenson, Miles. Miles wrapped up by Oliver. Who else? Oliver really plays that linebacker role, linebacker slash defensive end. Vikings run a 3-4. But Oliver, with his size, he's almost like a defensive end, really. Number 9, all over the field last week in their loss to Grand Prairie.
Anthony Union back in, number 5.
You notice Oliver moves around a lot. This time he's out between a slot receiver and the left tackle, and he'll just kind of play in the zone as DJ looks for someone and flips it over to Brooks. Brooks makes some positive yardage. Nice pursuit by the Vikes.
Almost looks as if it was pitched forward, but he had about 2.5 yards. Right here, no, that's a nice pitch.
Yeah. Linesman right there. Good pursuit by the Vikes. Clock continues to move. Again, no timeouts for Irving High School. Some one-on-one coverage on the far side, and they come near side to Brooks. Brooks breaks the tackle, but goes down on the knee. Of course, once the knee goes down, you're down. Daydon Evans, number 8, the junior, made the tackle for Nimitz. But not until Irving High gets a first down. Maybe a little bit more sense of urgency for the oldest high school in the city. 2.5-minute mark. They're going to have to throw the football more than a couple of yards, go downfield. Stevenson pointing to the left. Instead comes to the near side, and Miles lowers his head, but gets maybe 2. Sands, one of 2 defenders on the play, along with Evans. And that's not going to cut it as we get in close to 2 minutes. You've got to throw the ball downfield, John.
It's a good secondary on the right side with Sherman and Evans.
Yeah, they're...
But you got to toss it deep.
In some situation, you've got one-on-one coverage. Plenty of time. Evans shakes and bakes. Not quite enough for the first down. But you could almost read the way the Vikings are playing. That was more of a keep them in front of us type thing.
Well, yeah, you got to respect Stevenson. I mean, he just may take off and run for 30, but trying to hem him in, and they did.
And the Tigers did a hurry up, and it forced Coach Rogers to call time. His team wasn't ready for it. Tigers said, forget the huddle, we're coming up to the line of scrimmage and calling a play, and they, to be honest, kind of caught the Vikings flat-footed.
3rd and short.
Stevenson can make a lot of things happen, and he's a good scrambler back there. He can buy some extra time. We've seen him go deep a couple of times, but his receivers didn't have a lot of room. They were well covered both times.
You know, this team, they lost 35 lettermen from last year. Only returned 3 on offense. 3 starters from last year.
Up front, Cueva, Elrod, Basham, Barrios, and Navarez are your 5 linemen for the Irving Tigers, trying to give their quarterback time. Nimitz lines up just 3 rushers on this 3rd down and 2. And a penalty flag. Might have been offsides against Nimitz.
I was going to say, this is going to really set off the Tigers if it's against the offense.
No, it's against Nimitz. Offsides.
There's your first down.
Yep. Might have been Daydon Evans, number 8. It was right in front of the linesman. Sometimes you get those cornerbacks playing close and they go across the line. Clock will start to move. Oliver, he's coming in to blitz, and Stevenson throws in a hurry, trying to hit Lawton. Not even close, as Sherman is right in on coverage. But
he had to, because Jalen Oliver almost inside his jersey.
Yep. Oliver, he just flip-flops, and this time he's playing on the near side. Just lined up like from the get-go, you knew he's coming. Again, he has no one to cover either, see? There's not a tight end over there or a running back. Here goes Stevenson again. Another blitz on the weak side this time. And Stevenson goes down.
Well, level really hammered by Herrera, number 72.
And Herrera even had to circle back to get him. I mean, he overran him the first time.
I don't think he had enough room.
Yeah. They call that an incomplete pass.
I call it a paint swapper. He just took it off.
It stops the clock. Stevenson again. Rush almost picked off. Goes right over the hands of Sands. Nimitz had guys in coverage as they tried to hit Miles going across the middle.
Yeah, you had Thomas Henderson on one side, Jalen Oliver on the other. Oh, almost. Sands
almost picked it off.
Nice effort anyway.
I believe this will be the first time we see Contreras tonight. Second time maybe. With 1:08 to go. Oh, and he shanks it. Goes right up the middle. And Nimitz will have the football at the midfield, maybe their own 49. So, boy, Morales actually was the punter. Man, John, I don't know if I can recall so many times we've seen punters have such trouble getting off good kicks.
Lost his footing. It was a short drive anyway of 25 yards. Now you've given the Vikings half the field. Here's another look at it from the ground level. Just lost it.
Ah, the plant foot gave way.
Huh.
He's a lefty, and the right leg, it just slid. The foot did not plant. Lost his footing. Nimitz has 2 timeouts. Will they try to go up the middle again to Hamilton? No, Ponce is going to keep it. And Ponce maybe a couple for Jordan Tinglin. Big old number 7. Disrupting things in the middle.
Nathan Hawkins will come in as an extra linebacker here.
Ponce in pursuit, and he just tosses it. And that'll be intentional grounding.
Jordan Frost wasn't going to give up any ground at all. You'll see Frost, number 28, from the right side and just reaches in, and
Ponce goes, nyeh.
Wow. Let her fly in the other direction.
Well, it's good to see Frost is okay.
Yeah.
After that early injury in the first quarter. I don't know, 30 seconds to go and you got to lead by 1 point. Don't do anything silly. I might even take a knee. Maybe not aggressive enough. Maybe not. Hamilton, left side. Hamilton. Punched around a little bit like a ping pong ball and gets to the 45 with 16 seconds left. Clock rolls. Rogers may be content on shutting things down.
That's truly taking one for the team. He could have gone out of bounds, but took a couple of hard hits, stayed in bounds, and Nimitz will have a lead.
John, this is the Nimitz-Irving matchup. You don't go out of bounds. So what an interesting first half, to say the least. Boy, field position, crazy punts, and a couple of touchdowns. 7-6, Nimitz on top at the break. We've got both bands and drill teams coming up next.
John Nelson back with Rob Willman, halftime on our ICTN Game of the Week. The Irving Tigers trailing the Nimitz Vikings 7-6. Let's go down to the field, enjoy the Irving Nimitz drill team and their fine marching band.
Now, let's meet our talented Vikings officers. Sergeant Stephanie Alfaro. Sergeant Daniela Rojas. First Lieutenant Janie Munoz. And your Vikings dance team captain, Caitlin Pena. Our smile of the week is Brenda Lopez. Our spirit girl of the week is Najee Mahikot. And our Vika of the week goes to Janie Munoz. Congratulations to these young ladies for their outstanding dedication, determination, enthusiasm, and showmanship. Now, please enjoy the show as the Vikings perform a streamer routine to Crazy in Love. Vikings managers are Angelique Gonzalez and Jasmine Ramirez. Vikings social officers are Giselle Bonilla, Tania Carter, Allison Salinas, and Fabiola Parra. The Vikings dance team is under the direction of Lakeisha Parrish and Christiana Hogan. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the field the 2017 Nimitz Viking Marching Band. The band is led by band directors Dan Gelber, Nathan Ewing, and Brian Pollard, along with color guard instructor Austin Horton. The Nimitz High School Marching Band's program is entitled Lotus Arachnid, featuring the music of Ludwig van Beethoven and original compositions by Frank Sullivan, arranged by Frank Sullivan. Tonight, they will be performing parts 3 and 4 of their contest show. Please welcome, under the field leadership of drum majors Myra Alba and John Guzman, the Nimitz Viking Band.
Nice performance by the Irving Nimitz drill team and marching band between halves here at Joy and Ralph Ellis Stadium, 7-6. Nimitz Vikings on top. Let's take a look at some of the first half highlights. On Irving's first possession, a short 12-yard drive following that short punt for Nimitz. DJ Stevenson plows straight ahead for a yard, 8:24 to go in the opening stanza, 6-0. Couple of turnovers in the first half as Stevenson, or rather as Ponce is picked off by number 30, Carlos Avery. Avery set up Irving in a pretty good position, but couldn't get anything done. And then over the left side, the handoff to Jackson. He loses a handle. The Vikings get it right back on their third possession. A block punt, an interception, and then this Hamilton 26-yard run. Derek Hamilton's second rushing touchdown of the year. Extra point was good, and that's where we stand, 7-6. Nimitz trying to win their fourth consecutive game in this series. Tigers had the edge in first downs, yards passing, 7 of 16, one interception. The Vikings 2 of 7, 13 total yards up top, 47 yards passing for the Tigers. 91 on the ground for the Vikings, 80 steps for Irving. Tigers had 127 total yards. Each team had one turnover, and the Tigers flagged 4 times for 30 yards. Irving Tiger drill team is poised on the east side. They're ready, so is the band. And let's enjoy the Irving Tiger halftime performance.
The 2017-2018 social officers are President Elizabeth Gonzalez, Vice President Julissa Rodriguez, Historian Sujay Manzanares. The 2017-18 Irving Toy Tigers were led onto the field by their officers, Junior Lieutenant Lauren Barahona, Senior Lieutenant Beth Bustos, Senior Lieutenant Cristina Iraeta, First Lieutenant Karina Sanchez, and Captain Kyla Kotz. The Toy Tigers are under the direction of Tasha Franklin and Luisa Lugo. Tonight, the Toy Tigers will perform a jazz routine to Shout It Out. Please give one more round of applause to the award-winning Toy Tigers. And now, live from Irving, Texas, the Tiger Marching Band. The band is under the field direction of drum majors Luis Collin, Joe Rucker, and Alex Salcedo. Color guard captains are Oscar Yanez and Emmanuel Ramirez. Guard squad leader is Ruth Barahona. Drumline captains are Tomas Garcia and Cynthia Jaimes. Front ensemble captains are Jackson Tran and Lorena Villatoro. The outstanding section of the week is the enlightened, the electrifying euphoniums. Outstanding band members of the week are Giselle Reyes, color guard, and Abigail Renteria, front ensemble. Tonight's halftime show features the Tiger Band's 2017 competition show titled Triumph of the Spirit. Featured soloists are Joe Rucker, Susana Escobar, Yuri Vargas, Alex Salcedo, Philip Wynn and June Hernandez, saxophones, Aubrey Garcia, Juan Gonzalez and Gustavo Garcia, trumpets, Daniel Jamez, trombone, Jacob Castellon, euphonium, and Dane Riggs, French horn. And now, the Irving High School Tiger Marching Band. Let's give one more round of applause for the Irving Tiger Band.
The Nimitz Vikings leading the Irving Tigers. Very colorful, very nice halftime performance by the Irving Tiger Marching Band. We'll step aside and get ready for the second half kickoff right after this.
Nimitz Vikings will kick things off to start the third quarter of play. On top by a point. Jose Aguilar will tee it up. Has kicked it straight down the pipe every time. And once again, the Tigers will watch this one go into the end zone. And they'll get the ball at their own 25-yard line to start things up here in the third quarter of play. A close game on the scoreboard. It took the Vikings practically 2 quarters to finally get their offense on track. And when they did, the running game just started to click. On the other hand, the Tigers may be shaking their heads wondering why they're not in the lead. At least they had really great field position throughout the first half of play. I think 3 out of 4 times, maybe 3 straight times, they had the ball inside Nimitz's end of the field and couldn't do anything with it.
6 possessions, just 1 score in the first half for the Irving Tigers.
Miles, not a lot of room there. That middle part of the line, clogging things up. Micah McGee, 26, you see him right there, with a good job of making the play. Back to the original line of scrimmage, and it's second down and 10. The most exciting part, I think, offensively for the Tigers is just watching Stevenson when he goes back there to scramble.
Here he goes again.
Going left side. He wanted to throw to Brooks. He's in trouble. Throws it over to Miles. It's a lateral. It is backwards. That is a live ball. And Sherman locks him up, and they get him out of bounds. A loss of 10 on the play. Wow, well, it doesn't have to be a good play, but it is an exciting play. Every time DJ is loose in the backfield trying to make something happen.
And the official right there, it's a backwards pass. He holds his arm towards the goal line, indicating the other way. And Miles has to run for his life. As you said, Rob, it's a 10-yard loss. Just hoping to hang on to the football.
Sherman, a good job of locking up against Miles and forcing him out of bounds. So it's third down, 19. They give to Miles on the draw, and he's got some running room. 30, Sherman in pursuit, a stiff arm. Miles down the sideline. They said he went out of bounds at the 43-yard line. But the hole opened rather wide on the right side, John, and then once he gets across here, there's nobody around him.
Yeah, they're moving it back inside of midfield, but yeah, you're right. There's, he's out of bounds. His right foot making contact. The sideline marker, run of about 20 yards after all that, but you got to like the call.
I was going to ask you about the call. You know, was it just an afterthought, 3rd and 19, do a draw, just get some room to punt? It turns into a first down. Going to go this time to the second man, Jackson, Trayvon, close to the midfield stripe before he's tripped up.
Hernandez cut him down. Gain of about 6.
And a penalty against Irving. Well, just when they get things rolling. That'll move them back 5 yards, and it'll be first down and 15. Irving primarily depends on the run, but they have tried. I mean, they haven't been shy about trying to throw the football. Weak side blitz, they run right past it. Here he goes, Jackson around the corner, and a first down. Trayvon Jackson, who will alternate with Miles, and that little dive right And he just kind of cuts against the grain, and the linemen just do a good job of pushing away.
It'll miss direction. In essence, another draw play.
So now the Tigers are putting a couple of nice runs together, back to back, inside Nimitz territory. Misdirection, and right there is Duro, number 70. Devin Duro, we haven't called his name out too much tonight, but he was right there on the spot on that play. In fact, they even lost a couple of yards. Watch the right of your screen.
Got away from number 75. There he goes. Made the play.
They probably changed maybe some stunts, some slants on that front defensive line.
All that chasing, they look gassed, the D-line.
Yeah. Second down, they go up the middle again, and Miles is spun down to the 30, so now we've got a third down at 10. First possession of the ball game for the Tigers.
They got to pull Thomas Hernandez, he comes out.
DJ gets the call from his coach. Neal splitting to the far side along with Damian Millen. Here comes DJ, and again he has a lot of room, tries to get past Sands. Wrapped up by number 72 for Nimitz. That's Herrera.
Sands kind of turned him back as Stevenson gave you that limp leg, rocked back a couple of feet, tried to start forward, but Sands having nothing to do with that.
So you have Herrera, number 72, playing both offensively and defensively. He's the right guard. He's going to take a breather, and they're going to go for it on 4th down and 6 at the 26. Draw play. Miles, right side. The stiff arm will not work as Sands wraps him up, and it will be the Vikings' ball.
Well, the drive, 51 yards, and they turn it over on their first possession. Well, those two big runs, and now this stop.
Well, Gonzalez, number 44, was the first to make contact. Slowed him down just enough for Sands to clean it up and keep him shy of the first down. Nobody in the backfield. Remember Hamilton, well, here he comes, number 2. He reeled off about 3 big plays. They're going to try the dive again, right side to Hamilton. Not quite as successful as the time before, as the Tigers had the hole plugged pretty good. Tinglin and company had the right side, also helped by Kevin Kirkland.
It's just a bull rush and some gang tackling by the Tigers.
Face mask amongst that pile of debris, and that's going to go against Irving.
Let's look at the right side, and Frost, Jordan Frost, yeah.
Yep, number 28. It's one of those where he reaches out to try to just make the tackle, and he ends up grabbing a face mask.
That carries it out to the 39-yard
line in a new setting.
So the Vikings benefit from the first down. Irving, here they come on the blitz. Kirkland's coming in strong. They got a man wide open across the middle. McGowan. And McGowan is inside the 35-yard line.
That's a play we saw in the first half that drew the 15-yard personal foul, and McGowan on that same pass pattern able to hold on to it. Just a nice delivered ball. Waist high in full stride.
You know, they sent the blitz, and with Kirkland coming in, it was picked up nicely by Hamilton. And that gave Ponce enough time to throw. Dive left, Hamilton again. They're going to keep going to that play again to see if it has some magic like it did in the first half.
Let's see if we see a little combination of some safety valve, swing passes, maybe a run here or there.
2 men to the right. very soft coverage to the right side, and Irving says we didn't do nothing. DJ Stevenson, number 9, the other DJ, faked the blitz, and when he did, it made the offensive line flinch. And that'll set Nimitz back 5 yards.
Couldn't tell if it was a center, Connor Huffman, or maybe someone on the left side who may have nudged first.
Hopkins, Tinglin, the 2 defensive tackles for Irving. Frost and Ibarra play the defensive ends. They fake. Ponce with Tinglin running right in his face, along with Frost. And when you have that going on, it doesn't take you long to throw it away.
Well, a nice drive of 38 yards shaping up the Vikings here in the second half.
But they've got a 3rd and long. Lawson splits out wide right. They look to the sideline. Like a lot of the high schools, they have signs and numbers that all correlate into what type of play you're going to call.
Colors.
Yep, very quickly. They fake to one side, go to Lawson to the right, and Willie just wasn't looking. Ponce took a hit. No penalty flag thrown, and now it's 4th down.
Yeah, Jordan Frost really nails him right up the middle. Carries him all the way. Oh, that
didn't feel good on the noggin.
Slam down there at the last.
So Aguilar will go back to punt. This has been a unique ride tonight. He's had one blocked, one shanked. It's not a bad kick. Hits into the end zone and bounces into the back of the end zone, so Irving will take over on their own 20. You see the time on your clock, 2 touchdowns. In fact, Irving tried to go for 2 and didn't get it. The difference right now.
Who wants it the most? I mean, they're still feeling each other out. You know, you got a little give and take.
I don't know. I think 2 quarters is enough.
7-6, you'll take it.
I think they should know each other by now. You know, the good thing is I've noticed, you know, rivals like this, a lot of times you get silly mistakes and penalties for late hits and such. Done pretty well so far. Who wants this one? Who's going to? TJ's going to get it. He literally pulled the ball out, and we got 3 penalty flags over on the near sideline between Daydon Evans and Micah Brooks.
Yeah, downfield about 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. You had those 2 mixing it up.
I was just saying how well everybody's doing, and look what happens. I mean, not 1, but 3 penalty flags. See, that's what happens when you get 2 extra officials. You get 2 extra flags.
Yeah, well, 3 in this case. You know, it's the first time, Rob, we've seen that alignment of the backfield, running backs on either side of the quarterback.
Now the officials will have to straighten out who did what. Oftentimes you see just personal foul on each side. I didn't see it until after the fact. Did you?
That's what I saw, and maybe it's offsetting penalties.
That's usually what happens, but let's wait for Mr. Maxson to tell us what's going to happen. Ooh.
An ejection, they offset each other, and they've been thumbed.
Both?
Yeah, if that's the case, Micah Brooks
and Evans, number 8, are out.
I don't see Brooks in the huddle. No, he's helmet off. He's headed to the bench.
And one of the assistant coaches grabbed his helmet, so you know that means you're not out. There's Sherman, number 1. Sherman wasn't part of it. Just trying to see if the other player involved. I see Myron Collins now, number 3, over here on the near side. maybe Don Evans was also.
Well, Evans not out there defensively.
All right, they start the clock back up after that's all sorted out. It's 1st and 10, and we'll do it again. Miles trying to work the edge. Sherman goes low. Stays in bounds. Sherman talks a little bit back to Miles and vice versa. Now things are starting to get a little chippy maybe as we're closing in towards the end of the third quarter, and still a 7-6 ball game.
Well, Sherman and Oliver really had a nice game tonight defensively. They both tackled hard. They've been all around the ball.
Hernandez, Sands, a couple linebackers, Vegan. DJ pumps, goes past one line of defense, and Doro brings him down. Well done by the left tackle, who basically just shadowed Stevenson down the line of scrimmage. And when Stevenson tried to take off, watch 70, bottom of your screen, watch him take off. Just stayed with him, and that's a good example of hustle for the youngsters out there.
They fought off the block of Basham.
So it's 3rd and long. We haven't seen any trick plays tonight.
That'll come late in the fourth quarter.
Think so? Game on the line. Oliver fakes the blitz. Whistle. Take too much time? Or did somebody move? Yep, somebody moved. Boy, the penalties just start to stack up and make
Penalty
it an
against the
uphill battle
Tigers.
when you're an offense looking for that one big play.
Yeah, Irving had 30 yards of penalties in the first half.
Difficult to make things happen when it's 3rd down and 13. Vikings fake the blitz from the corner. Now they come with it. DJ. Miles says, throw it to me. Some contact. Is there a flag? No. Yes, from the weak side, from the very far side is the flag. The two closest officials looked at each other and said no, John.
Ball behind him and uncatchable.
And then one of those, what I call extra officials, the back judge comes in from the weak side. Let's watch it on the replay. They do get tangled up. He does go over him. The question remains, like you said, was it catchable?
Well, they'll go back to the line of scrimmage. And a break for the Tigers on 3rd and 13.
They get the 15-yard penalty. That was Oliver, one of the linebackers out there trying to cover Miles.
Irving, Rob, 8 penalties, 70 yards.
Tough to win.
But a break here. That
Yeah.
carries it over the 30-yard line.
Closing in on the 4-minute mark of the third quarter. Again, Nimitz faking the blitz, and this time Miles takes advantage. Miles turns a corner. Miles at the 40, almost 10 yards. Give him about 9. He doesn't look like he's lost a step from early in the ball game.
Chased out of bounds by the junior Mac Evans. Well, he has lost some paint on that helmet. It's a two-tone color.
He will not take the high road and go out of bounds, that's for sure. Trips near side. Maybe Miles again up the middle. Yes, Miles left side, lowers the shoulder. Needed 1, picks up about 3.
Yeah, you called it, running behind Derek Cueva, number 62. Jumper comes in with a play, number 29.
We get to this point, more so in the fourth. You know, both these teams not deep in numbers. Who's in better shape? Does the defense stay on the field a lot? Stevenson. It appeared from the beginning it was going to be an option where he was going to toss it, but Tomas Henderson, number 21, disrupted the play from the beginning, and Stevenson had nowhere to go.
It's a good description. A disruptor, a party crasher.
You know, John, maybe, we wondered why Irving never tried a field goal attempt. When they had the ball down around the 20 there in the first half, but they are going against the wind. And I notice it has picked up just a little bit.
May not get another chance, though.
No.
Stoppage of play, an official stoppage of play here.
Offsides by the Tigers. Delatorre with his hands in the air, and now the official. It must be the way the offensive linemen were lined up. He's talking to Elrod, number 60.
Was the wide receiver covered? Was he covered up? Couldn't tell.
Maybe the guys just lined it up in their stance over the ball, and that's why they called it dead ball foul. Stevenson again. This time goes to Jackson. Jackson shakes a tackle. Another at the midfield, and then to the 45, and he's right at the sticks for a first down.
Jackson is every bit as quick as Miles.
They don't use him a lot, and so when they do, it's like he's got fresh legs.
Just throws aside Juan Sands, number 20.
Diego Gonzalez, number 10, barely got an arm around the leg. So it's 3rd and 1. As the Tigers again just stick to the ground attack. Rush up to the line in a hurry. Plenty of time on the play clock. Try to get an offsides, and they will. This is a free play. Stevenson, just chunk it. Just chunk it, man. He's being rushed, and he chunks it all right. Nimitz fans say, oh, I wish we could have had the interception. It wouldn't count. One of the interior linemen defensively for Nimitz jumped off sides.
Well, Mac Evans not too happy, number 4. But you're right. I mean, you're playing with house money, and just let it fly.
Let her rip, Tater Chip. It's going to be Duro. Watch him, number 70 there, jumped. That play was designed just to have someone jump off sides. They ran up to the line very quickly. They had like 15 seconds on the play clock. And then he faked the snap call to get someone to jump off sides, and it worked. Fresh set of downs. Miles, 2 tough yards left side. He's had to make a lot of those yards himself.
Has been outnumbered 3-1 in some instances tonight. 58 yards of rushing.
Not a lot of room to run. 2nd down and again long. Every time that Stevenson has gone back to pass, he's had to run for his life.
Yeah, he doesn't know what a pocket is.
Corners up tight. They did a good job at doing it as Lawton gets the catch close to the 35.
Yeah, a little separation here. Words exchanged.
Why not? We're
After the tackle.
We're getting close to the 4th quarter. That's when things really get chippy.
Yeah. And they know it on both sides. Again, Nimitz is one of the last 3. The last time the Tigers won a game in this series was in 2013. That was a 24-17 Tiger win.
At least one play for the Tigers before the quarter break. Big play here, though, 3rd down. Right side, spinning, churning, and a first down. That's number 6, Anthony Union. He comes in sparingly, but made the most of it there. And now the Tigers march off to the sideline to their head coach. The Vikings do the same as the clock winds down. Nobody scored in the 3rd quarter. What's going to happen in the fourth? We finished 3, headed for 4. Nimitz 7, Irving 6, back in a moment. Tigers with the 1st and 10 on the table, inside the 30 of the Vikings. They're down by a point, looking for some answers, and they're not going to get it there as Union is just wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage by Jalen Oliver. Just a junior, and I'm telling you, Coach Rogers will be happy to have him back next year because he is a standout defensively for this Viking team. He has made plays. The last 2 weeks we've seen him. Last week against the Gophers and again tonight against Irving. And just when you think Irving is doing something, they find themselves losing ground. 3 receivers to the top. Stevenson to his left has a guy open in the middle. Waits a little too long and it may be picked off. Nope, incomplete.
That ball had no chance as the secondary closing in fast for the Vikings. Waited till the last minute, just guns a bullet, but that had no chance of succeeding at all. Should have been picked off.
Yeah, the thing is, he had Neal, who just sat down in the middle, and he waited just a little too long to throw it. I mean, he waited a good 2 seconds before he found him. And lucky that one didn't get picked off. 3rd down. Looks to his right, now goes back to his left. There's Neal. Got it! Touchdown, Tigers.
Got away from number 4, Mac Evans. And the Irving Tigers regain the lead.
Well, for Neal, that is his 3rd touchdown of the year. And comes at a big moment as he gives his Tigers the lead, 12-7. I think Mac Evans might have twisted the knee, or maybe he got a Charlie horse after going high and trying to knock that one down from Neal. Now, you know, Irving has the wind to their back, and DJ just lofted that one, and that's one of those up for grabs, and Neal comes out the winner.
Yeah, Neal heard it on the way down. This one way up there is like a fly ball to the center fielder, and Neal first to get to it, and he's got 2 more years to play at Irving High.
Yeah, that just, you know, I think perhaps maybe Mac just mistimed it, got right behind him.
And Neal maybe with a little height advantage as well.
So the Tigers will go for 2. And you know, the Vikings now a little thin in the secondary.
Yeah, without, well, their cornerback, Dadon Evans.
You know, the Evans boys are now sidelined. Mac might be able to come back. Well, let's see now if they'll give it to Miles. Stevenson waits, stops, spins. He got it. What an effort by DJ for the 2-point conversion. And that puts the Tigers on top 14-7 with a full quarter left to go.
Well, they atoned for the missed 2-point conversion earlier in the first quarter as Stevenson just runs through a couple of defenders at the goal line. So they get the 2 points back. 1 possession game here, and what a finish we have shaping up in the final 11:03.
It was almost like the 2 Nimitz defenders pulled up because they didn't want to hit each other because they were in a crash course for each other. And DJ just spun around both of them for 2 points.
Stevenson now 9 of 19, 84 yards up top.
And the big one to Neal for the touchdown. And now pressure goes to these gentlemen right there in the white, trimmed in purple.
Well, a good use of using Trayvon Jackson and James Miles on the ground, and Stevenson settling into his role here in the second half.
Look at Ponce there, number 13, waiting for his chance to come back out.
Any reason this won't come out to the 25?
Not at all. With the wind to your back, Morales ought to kick that one to the back of the end zone. We have a left-handed quarterback and a left-footed kicker on the Tigers team. Kicks it high, could be returnable. No, it's too deep.
68 yards in the air.
Bounced over the crossbar. And he gets a 5 from the coach.
Job well done, just what I wanted to happen.
Yep. To the 25. So the question remains, will the Vikings try to find the magic they did with their running back and give it to Hamilton on a read option? Or will they be forced to throw the football? McGowan to the near side. Lawson's been quiet tonight, number 5. Willie usually is in the game a couple of times, and they're going to go to Willie. Ask and you shall receive. No pun intended.
Well, had one I was going to use, but I won't. But oh, that's a nice pass. Down low, right about knee high. No way to get that knocked loose or intercepted.
And for the Vikings, that's the type of play offensively, I think, to loosen things up a little bit. Hamilton comes back over left side of Ponce. Ponce hands off and helmets fly, bodies fly, football stays on the ground.
Clogged up in the middle. And you know that Hamilton's a marked man here in the fourth quarter.
Herrera, number 72, lost the headgear, so you know he has to leave. So he's there on the sidelines.
Yeah, they're going to bring on Anderson McGuire. He's a nose tackle at times defensively.
Boy, when he comes in on a down where it's 3rd and 4 and they got to make things happen. Willie Lawson comes near side. They hand off and really not a lot of running room for Hamilton. And pretty much, I think you're forced to punt it. I mean, there's 10 minutes to go in the game. Herrera comes back in, but
too much time. Both teams have all 3 timeouts. But it's taking a little longer here.
Well, are they just going to try to draw them off sides? I don't know. A lot of time in the ball game to be right here. I think they're just going to try to draw them off sides. That is my guess. Down to 7 on the play clock. No. He's got it. Wow, gutsy call.
Just a quick blast over the left side. They needed a yard, and they get about 3.
Man, a shocker.
That was. Eric Hamilton, they just push aside everybody else.
Yeah, basically they told the left side of the line to push in. Ponce waits, has a man across the middle, complete inside the 50. It's Lawson, number 5. So all of a sudden, we haven't heard from Willie all night. He's made 2 catches just on this drive. Another 1st down and 10 for the Vikings with plenty of time to go, closing in on 9 minutes. Handoff left side. Hamilton over the 45 inside to the 43. And will the tempo change? And will the Vikings continue this up-tempo play?
31 yards on this current drive.
We saw DeSoto do that to MacArthur successfully. They go left side and not a lot of room there. Was it Hopkins in there making some noise for Irving? Yeah, number 53.
He'll be back next year.
He read that pretty quickly and didn't allow Hamilton a lot of running room. So 3rd and 5. I'm going to say 2-down territory if they're close based on what they did last time. Ponce has a man wide open in the flats. Is it caught or not? Garcia is there, and this is going to be close for a 1st down. Garcia, a slot receiver. And I think it's
Well,
going to be like fourth and a half the length of a football.
That is close. Nice all-out dive.
Yeah, if he didn't have to dive for the ball, that'd have been a first down. Some players changing in. Kevin Kirkland now switching out as a cornerback. Handoff left side. I don't think he made it.
Oh, they stoned him. He's short.
Oh, they grabbed him high around the shoulder pads, and I watched him swing around back. Kirkland and company to stuff the middle, and what a play for the Tiger defense.
And I believe DJ Stevenson.
Oh, somebody got him.
Yep.
Number 9, DJ. He has had a quiet night tonight, John. That's about the second time I've called his name, and boy, it came at a great time because he stuffed the run right in the middle. Boy, a big play defensively for the Tigers. And now they have to keep control of the football. Both teams with their full complement of timeouts. So that's not an issue. But if the Tigers were just to play ball control and score here, that could break that 3-year losing streak to their rivals. Miles, tippy toes.
He lost it.
Did he? They said he did. Picked up by Sands, number 20. Oh, man.
Well, you get a break, give it right back to the Vikings with 7:42 to play. Our third possession, and they give it up.
It happened on the right side of the line. Watch it from the end zone. There, yeah, you can see it pop out right there. Somebody got an arm in there and jarred it loose from Miles. And it's almost like a fresh set of downs for the Vikings, who lost it on 4th down pretty close to where they're at now. Lawson, motion left. Ponce hands off to Hamilton. I keep waiting for Ponce to keep it. He did that quite often last week against the Gophers. Most of the time, though, he just kept it up the middle. He never really ran wide. And so if that's his MO, then anytime you see him go wide, 90% of the time it's going to be a handoff. You know, Ponce didn't play the first 3 weeks, so this is like only his second game back for the season. So he's getting his legs down. Hamilton, left side, breaks a tackle and is put down at the 35-yard line. Under 7 minutes to go.
You know, they tried to go earlier tonight to Garrett Winters, and Ponce was picked off. I see Winters wide right. He's one-on-one, and now Garcia's with him.
With McGowan one-on-one at the top of the screen, and now they bring the safety up to cover Garcia. Not a lot of room for Hamilton. So it's 4th and short. It's almost like Delatorre and company is saying, we dare you to throw outside. I mean, they want them to throw outside because they're stacking it right up the middle. Coming off the edge was Kevin Kirkland, just in, number 13. So they're shooting the corners and the safeties in as well, pinching inside, and here come the Vikings with another 4th down. Nelms back in. We haven't seen Nelms since the game started. A little flare pass to Nelms, and that is incomplete. And the Tigers get the ball right back again. So it seems like, at least for now, John, that the Tigers seem to have the Vikings number and pretty much have everything figured out where they're going.
Yeah, they do, and everything happening around the 40-41-yard line. That ball was too low and didn't reach down low enough. Lawson to secure it.
You know, Nelms had been hurt for a couple of weeks, and this is his first game back, and Coach Rogers was really excited about that, but Hamilton has played so well. Nelms was pretty much an afterthought until they brought him in there on the 4th down play.
Well, not sure where to spot it. They've gone back to the 35.
I think they forgot that was an incomplete pass and not a lateral. And they were probably going to mark it to where the ball ended up, but that was incomplete, so they got to go back to the 35. Nonetheless, the Tigers get the ball again with the lead, and right up the middle we go. Jackson across the 40. It's like they just pound you to death with James Miles, and then they bring Jackson out with the speed. He is slow to get up and might have got his legs tangled up right there underneath him. He's coming out. Might have hurt a groin.
Rips off 7 quick yards. 14 in, that's Trey Austin.
Like the junior, the backup. Sometimes they put Trey as a tight end. Right now they're going to put him up almost like a fullback. He's just to the left of Stevenson. Second down. Miles, maybe a yard, and that's just because the pile pushed him in that direction. Number 53, last one coming off was Austin Banks.
Here we go, 3rd and short.
You know, I got to say, both teams, they've given each other plenty of opportunities.
Fumble, the ball's gone over on downs 3 times here in the second half.
Once again, the Tigers make it happen at the line of scrimmage, offsides against Nimitz. And, you know, kudos to the Tigers, because those type of plays, your kids have got to stay steady. They got to be a rock when they do the quick count. They can't jump either, or the play's off or not.
Gave him a first down, and Jackson back in there.
Keep an eye on the clock and see when Rogers feels like he needs to call a time. Not yet at the 4:40, but Irving gets another first down. Vikings may have to go to the timeouts. Jackson back in there. In fact, he's got the football. Over the 50, down to the 49. Clock moves. Tigers with the only score in the second half. And that's been the difference so far. The long pass to Solomon Neal. Stevenson found him in the end zone. Here in the 4th quarter, we had a scoreless 3rd quarter. Millen and Lawton, top of your screen. Neal to the near side. They give to Miles. Miles close to the first down. Be 3rd down and about 2. Just a dive left, almost got leg whipped. Evaded 1 tackle with the spin. And let's see if Delatorre loads it up with like a goal line offense. I mean, it's 3rd. I mean, you know, you could really push it and try to make it a 2-down territory and really just wipe away any chance for a comeback for the Vikings as Coach Rogers looks on, and now I think Delatorre's going to call time.
I was going to say, at what point do you want to use that first timeout? It comes with a little under 3 minutes to play.
Well, the thing is that this one's against the Tigers, so Rogers still has his 3. I think this possession.
But, I mean, this is the play of the game right here.
Right. This possession is so important. I mean, if it's 4th and 1, I bet he goes for it.
I bet he does, too, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak and a position to pick up your first district win. Wouldn't rule it out at all.
There's what the Tigers have done thus far, defeating Pascal to kick off the season, and then Lynch, Elm, Panthers of Duncanville, 3 straight losses. They have South Grand Prairie next week. They were leading arch rivals Grand Prairie High 14-7 at one time. All right, less than 3 minutes to go. 3rd down and 2, and they do have the goal line offense in there. Kirkland is in there as a blocker. They got 2 blockers up front. And Stevenson does a quarterback sneak with Kirkland just pushing him. Same play they ran for the first touchdown of the game. Like I said before, it's almost nowadays don't have the fullbacks in front of the quarterback. Have the quarterback have the big guys behind him and just push you. I mean, look at that. The quarterback sneaked for about 3 yards. And maybe Rogers goes for the timeout after this play. Maybe he's going to see how many yards they get. Shoot. Irving may do the push again. Handoff. Ball's loose. Somehow Kirkland comes up with it. And man, were the Tigers fortunate there. Clock has stopped at 2:21, and I believe Rogers has used his first timeout of the ball game. Look at that. Kirkland spins and turns just in the nick of time. Well, they would have turned that one over. In good field position for Nimitz. I think Delatorre's onto something, though. I think he is thinking we're just going to bunch him up and we're just going to keep pushing him out. I mean, heck, it's worked. Shoot, he got 3 or 4 yards last time. Why not try it again? We've had, since the 90s, we've had 4 overtimes. Irving has won 2. Nimitz has won 2. .226 perhaps, they won on the clock. If I could read hand signals, 226. Nimitz will go to Duncanville. Panthers have been really played good ball this year. I think Samples and company are going to start doing things in postseason. Well, this is where we're at. It's second down and about 12 because of the fumble. Nimitz has 2 timeouts left. Tigers get 1 more first down, and they can chalk up a victory. Right side, Jackson. Not a lot there. That works into the hands of the Vikings. They'll use their second timeout. Jackson has been really good coming off the bench tonight, providing that extra speed. The Vikings, they got Duncanville and Cedar Hill back to back, and then south, and then DeSoto. Oh, what a brutal stretch. They finished the season against MacArthur right here on ICTN. Boy, those have been some great games to finish out the year. And if Nimitz doesn't win here, they might drop 6 in a row. They have got a tough road ahead of them. And they find themselves down by 7. A 3rd down and 9. I would be surprised if Stevenson threw. And he's going to, and he bounces to jumper. Wow, 2 things there. Number 1, it could have got picked off. And he's hurt. Stevenson comes up a little gimpy-legged over there, holding the right side. It stops the clock. That saves Nimitz a timeout. So Nimitz could put 1 in their back pocket. Maybe he's cramped. Hopefully he's just got the Charlie horse. Let's watch the pass again. Just a 1-step and throw, and it just bounced. Not even close. Myron Collins in on coverage. Here's the punt. Nice high kick. Fielded at the goal line, and he's going to try to bring it out. That's not what Viking fans had hoped for. Sherman, number 1, trying to be the playmaker. I know his intentions are good. That's not what the Vikings needed. Don't know if he thought he had to bring it out. It's not like the kickoff. So this is pretty much the stage right here with about 2 minutes to go in the game and only 1 timeout. As we all know, the clock stops at every first down, so for the Vikings, just try not to get it all at once. And for Irving, don't give up the big play. There's a man. There's Lawson in the side. First down and out of bounds. Willie Lawson, number 5. He was out there with McGowan. Both were open. And Ponce had plenty of time to throw. I know the mindset of Irving, and that's just don't give up the big play. Avery and Tomeo in on coverage on the near side. A couple of players hook, and he tries to go deep over here, out of bounds. Tried to hit Garcia, but the out of bounds marker was the friend for the defensive guys. There's the previous play, Ponce to Willie Lawson. Second and 10. At this point of the ball game, 1:50, so much time, I don't think that's much of an issue right now as it is. Just get the first downs. Going across the middle, McCown's got it. At the 42-yard line, DeMarcus McGowan, the senior, from the end zone. Ponce lofts it up. He gets behind the defender. Ooh, takes a hit at the end, but holds on. And Irving calls time. I think Irving saw things getting away from him. And Coach Della Torre is grabbing his DBs. He is huddling up his DBs together and talking just to the 4 defensive backs. McGowan maybe a little shaken up after that play. So some coaching on both sides. There's Della Torre. There's his 4 defensive backs. There's Avery. There's 29 as jumper. Then you got Kirkland. And I believe Cabello or number 6, Union, Anthony Union, who plays back there. Union's probably one of the more versatile players on this team. I mean, he goes anywhere from running back to cornerback to safety. And they now have him playing safety, sitting at about the 30. So it's 1st and 10 with $1:37 to go. Ponce, the rush is on. He just had to throw that away. Tinglin, who we haven't heard of much in the last couple of series. I mean, the guy's a force anyway, but boy, he and Nathan Hawkins, one of the linebackers, just took off and did not give Ponce a lot of time. Now Quintanilla is in there defensively. Rush again is on, and Ponce is wrapped up by Stevenson. DJ Stevenson with the sack. They're going to stop the clock, and the last timeout by Nimitz. Pressure applied by Ibarra, and then Stevenson is there to wrap things up. And Quintanilla, who also just came off the bench to force the play. So now, with 1:27 to go, the Vikings are without a timeout. 3rd and 16. They've got to get down to the 32 for a first. So you have to do a lot of things here on this timeout. I mean, you've got to make the most of this timeout. Not only call the play for 3rd down, But if you don't get it, what you're going to do next? Everybody has to be on the same page. It's amazing how these games they made us kind of linger for a half or so, but then you get into the fourth quarter and they really become exciting and a little suspenseful as well. I'm telling you, both of these coaches are coaching their hearts out, trying to figure out the play and figure out what to do. Third down. Ponce fakes. Goes across the middle, almost intercepted by Kirkland. Kirkland read that. They were trying to hit Sherman, who they snuck into the lineup as a receiver. Ponce and Kirkland's going to say, ooh, I had a chance. It was behind him a little bit. They were trying to hit Sherman. Sherman's a speedster. That's why he's out there. And they now have Sherman to the top of the screen. One-on-one coverage unless that free safety kind of hedges to the left. They're going to Sherman. Kirkland's out there. This time he gets it. They said he didn't, but that's going to do it anyway because the Tigers have the football with 1:17 to go. Nimitz without any timeouts, and the Tigers are going to break the 3-game losing streak to their rivals. Lifted high, and it gave Kirkland a lot of time to catch up. He didn't stay in bounds, but you knew what they were going for. They were going for their playmaker, Sherman. Well, I didn't see any flags. I don't know what the ref and the head linesman are talking about. Maybe whether or not it was a catch, dead ball foul, personal foul against Irving. So probably celebrating. They don't have the same celebration rule like the NFL does when you score, I guess. Didn't see anything really off the charts there. I mean, I didn't see any taunting, just old-fashioned celebration. I think in this category, I think it's so now all the Tigers have to do is snap the football a couple of times and call it a game. John Nelson's down on the sideline. He will interview the winning coach, which right now may be Aaron Delatorre. Tigers lined up in the victory formation. And they'll let the clock burn down to about 40 seconds, 30 seconds, and snap it one more time. And call it a win. Well, it's been a long time since Irving has come up with a big win here on ICTN. We've seen them lose some heartbreakers. And you knew they just felt pretty good about themselves. They've been playing better. And that should do it, folks. Delatorre and his assistant coaches give each other high fives and hugs. Now the teams will shake hands as the clock winds down and the Irving Tigers break a 3-year jinx. After losing 3 years in a row to the Vikings, they lose and lose and lose, but come right back and win this one in front of the home crowd, 14-7. The final score as players shake hands and Irving fans will celebrate tonight. Well, it wasn't that high potent offense, but it was still fun nonetheless. Let's take a break. We'll interview the winning coach, have some highlights and stats, and wrap things up. Stay with us. So Coach Rogers talks to his young men and he putting a positive spin on things, wanting his players to stay tough, stay strong. It's never a good one when you lose to your crosstown rivals 14-7. Right now, John Nelson is with the winning coach, Aaron Delatorre. John?
The Irving Tigers snap a 3-game losing streak to the Nimitz Vikings. Coach, this is a big win for you.
Big. We haven't beat them the last 3 tries, and just really proud of our kids tonight. What a great effort. What a great game.
I know you want to get with your team.
No, it's just exciting. You work so hard. We're in the toughest district in the state. Every win freaking counts, and I'm just proud of our kids.
That pass to Solomon, that was a beauty.
It was a great call. I have to take a little bit of credit. I told him to take a shot on that kid, and Coach Pierce called a great game.
I thought your offensive line, for the most part, really played well tonight.
It's the best we played all year.
Coach, this is going to be a nice week of practice ahead.
Let me tell you what, there's nothing like waking up on Saturday morning with the win.
I know you want to get with your team. This has been an emotional week, but once again, overall, this was a great team effort. You've worked hard for this.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, that's head coach Aaron Delatorre as the Irving Tigers knock off the Nimitz Vikings.
All right, John, thank you very much, and some smiles and high fives for everyone, for the Irving Tiger faithful and players. Boy, a hard-fought one, and here's the reason why. The highlights of the ball game, a nice push in the back there as DJ keeps 6-0 Irving, and they held that lead for a while until the second quarter. In that one series there where Hamilton just went crazy and scored on this play here, they were up 7-6. It stayed that way until the fourth quarter. Stevenson hits Neal. Look at that. Solomon out of nowhere comes up for the catch, 12-7. They also go for 2, and what an effort by DJ as he fakes the pass and then spins his way into the end zone to make it 14-7. That's the way it was until the last play of the game, and Ponce tries to hit Sherman, picked off in the corner, and that's it. The Tigers in the losing streak with a 14-7 win. The statistics and the standings are how things came out tonight, and look at the stats. First downs, not too bad. Passing about the same. I mean, really, even the total yards weren't that far, and both teams had 2 turnovers. And both teams committed at least 8 or more penalties. So really, even if you look at the stats, not one team really dominated, and that's what kind of game it was tonight with the Irving Tigers winning this one. 14-7. It had been the Vikings in 2014, 15, and 16, but now it's the Tigers, victorious 14-7 tonight over their rivals, the Nimitz Vikings. Well, that's going to do it for the ICTN Game of the Week. We appreciate you watching, everyone, and your support throughout the year of watching the Game of the Week on ICTN. For John Nelson and the entire crew, Rob Willman with you. Until next time, so long, everyone.